Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. This is Jon'nae and I'm here to share some more of my journey with you on how I overcame some of my mental health issues and how I'm still trying to overcome some of them, okay? So let's get into it. So like I said, I was molested at 7 by a female, and I remember like it was yesterday. It happened during the night. She had called me to her room, her bedroom. And I'm sorry you guys, if this triggers you, I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm just sharing my story and how I overcame some of these things. I'm sorry if this triggers you. If it does, please exit. I don't want to trigger anybody or bring up anything, any kind of feelings or anything like that. Please, please, please exit, okay? Back to my story. So, like I said, it happened during the night, probably late. And I probably had school that day, the next day. Somehow I ended up in her bed. She made me do some things that I didn't even know what it was or what I was doing, but I did it. And I don't know if it was because she was older or I thought I would get in trouble if I didn't do it, but I did what she told me to do. And like I said in the first video, I would never forget how she smelled and how things, oh God, it's horrible, but I would never forget how it smelled. I'll never forget how she tastes. And I've had a trigger moment with that. One day I was shampooing someone's hair, or about to, and it smelled like her, and I had to stop. I was like, what do you have in your hair? Whatever they had in their hair, or maybe it was just their natural odor, it smelled exactly like her, and it brought back that taste. And I was like, I can't do this right now. That, oh my God, I will never forget that. That was horrible. After that day, she acted like nothing happened, so I act like nothing happened. I don't know if it affected my body or my mind instantly, because right after that, my hair started falling out. I went completely bald in the middle of my head. Like the size of, it was probably bigger than a cue ball, and it was smooth to the touch. No hair, none, like no peach fuzz, nothing. And I was just crying, and my mom didn't know what was going on. She took me to Dr. Champion. If you're from Memphis, everybody knows Dr. Champion. She took me to Dr. Champion and got me some kind of ointment that he told to use on my head. It smelled like cigarettes and sulfur 8. It was horrible. So imagine me going to school in the 3rd grade. I had to go to another school in the 3rd grade. I had to wear a ponytail for a whole year, and I smelled like sulfur 8 cigarettes and mothballs. Child, I got bullied by this little girl with glasses. And she was cute, but she bullied me. She would talk about my hair and how thin it was. It was thin as wind. But you ain't have to tell me that. I knew that. I had to go home and look at my hair every day. So you didn't have to bully me. Now if I see you today, violence is a no-no. I didn't even want to go to school. I did not like school. I didn't want to go because 1, she was bullying me. 2, my hair was falling out. 3, I smelled. And 4, I think we had to walk to school. Like, my mom had to walk me to school. We didn't have a car, so I was just ashamed. It was just too much, and I was just only 8 or 9. One day, this girl was messing with me, and this is how I met my best friend Courtney. She took up for me that day. She told that girl to leave me alone, and she did. Thank you, best friend. I love you. After that, my hair grew back. My hair never was the same anymore. I didn't have long, beautiful hair anymore. It just would not grow back how it was, but it did grow back. I didn't have to use the old people stuff anymore, so it did grow back. Fast forward to a couple of years later, in the 6th grade, when I was molested by the young man. This particular day, we knew him, we knew his family, very close to his family, very, very close. And we were over their house one day, and my mom had to go to the store or something. She had to go somewhere, and she was like, I'll be right back. I'm like, okay. I know these people, they're cool. So I like playing video games because that's what we grew up on, like Mario and Mortal Kombat and stuff like that. So he had a game, and I was like, I want to play. So we went to his room. The door was open. I don't know where his mom was. Maybe she was cooking or something. So I was just an innocent child just playing a game, and he was a teenager. And somehow he ended up my skirt. So I'm like, okay, I've had this experience before. The only thing I'm supposed to do is just lay here and let them do what they want to do because they're older, they're bigger. This is obviously something that's supposed to be done because I've had it done to me before. I'll never forget that experience either. It's kind of hard to talk about. It's not as hard as it was before I started counseling, but just thinking about it, it's like, what makes people do this? Has it been done to them? Like, did you watch something that made you like want to do this? Like, what in your mind makes you want to touch someone else? What is it? But anyway, I'll never forget that after that happened, he still came around and said little smart remarks like, hey, how you doing? Or little weird stuff, and I would be very uncomfortable with him, and I'd just be like, ugh, here he comes. Let's fast forward to maybe 4 years ago. Recently, 4 years ago, he inboxed me and asked me how I'm doing, blah blah blah. I'm like, I'm fine. And then he's like, can I take you to lunch? And I'm like, do you remember molesting me? Do you remember touching me? He's like, what? I said, do you remember touching me? No, I don't remember that. I'm like, well, I do. You touched me, you fondled with me. And he's just like, I'm sorry, just trying to apologize. Child blocked. And you guys, you know what? I didn't share my molestation experiences with my parents until maybe 2 years ago. I did not say anything to my family just up until 2 years ago. They were upset that I didn't come forward, but I felt like my parents were not approachable. I felt like, you know, I didn't have anyone to talk to. Like, my parents were there, but they weren't there emotionally. Does that make sense? Like, they were there physically, but they weren't there to say, hey, how was your day? How was school? You know, what did you do? Did anybody bother you at school today? Or anybody touched you? Like, I asked those things to my son. I don't care who he's with. Are you okay? Did anybody touch you? Did you eat? Like, you know, stuff like that. I didn't feel like I had that kind of relationship with my parents to say, hey, this girl just made me do some things to her, and I don't know if it's right or wrong. And then again, I might have been scared to see how my family would react or retaliate. So I found closure in releasing. It was so much relief in releasing this stuff because I've held it in for so long. It was really bothering me that I couldn't get it out, and it just wasn't enough with just writing it down. Like, it was almost like I forgot about it. I just pushed it in the back of my mind like, I'll never talk about this again, or I'll never think about this again. But it took me to go to counseling. She made me go all the way back to the root of what was the issue. Born feeling not loved and being molested at a young age. And that right there started a whole heap of trouble in my mind. So my counselor made me go back to where it started. And she made me heal from childhood on up. And I appreciate that lady so much. I love that lady. Please go to counseling. It is worth it. It is worth it. I promise you it's worth it. Forgiving, you have to forgive. You have to. Like, if I see this young lady on the street, I don't have any ill feelings towards her. I'm not gonna say, hey, you molested me when I was 7 or 8. I'm just gonna be like, I've forgiven you. We don't have anything to talk about, but I've forgiven you. I can move on. I can have a good day after I've seen you. I'm not gonna be bothered because I saw you. Hey. I'm not holding a conversation with you, but I've forgiven you. Like, if I see the young man, I'll be like, ugh, I probably won't even speak to him, but I forgive you. I forgive your disgusting self. Forgiveness is the #1 key to healing, okay? So forgive those who abused you, please. And God is going to get them back, I promise you. He is going to get them back for doing those things to you, okay? And I just wanted to share that little snippet about my molestation and how that affected my body and how it affected my thoughts on, like, if I should date boys or girls, you know. All that stuff built up in my little body, and I was just so stressed. How can you be stressed in middle school or elementary? Hair falling out, acne, my grades were falling, like I couldn't stay focused in school. So if you ever notice a change in your child in academics, socially, even their skin and hair, like, you got to figure out what's going on. You got to ask questions. Sit down and talk to your children. I mean, I know we have social media and our social lives. We want to be the baddest and dress the best and all this stuff, but you have children at home who is in their room all day playing a game, and they don't know how to tell you that Billy is bullying them, or Sally just touched me here, or if they have something going on with their body. Like, you have to sit down and talk to your children. Notice any little change. I asked my son something and he just says, never mind. Come on back. We're not gonna just never mind this. If you need some time, go to your room, think about it, and my son will come back downstairs and he'll say, Mom, I'm ready to talk now. And I appreciate that. I love that about my son. He will tell me anything. If I ask him and he don't want to talk about it right now, and I'm like, okay, well, we're going to talk about it later. You need to go think about what you want to say and come back down here. And he will. I'm all ears. And that's what we need. That's what I needed. So I'm going to instill that into my son. He could talk to me about anything. I don't care what it's about. And I want that relationship with him where he could tell me anything. I don't want him to be afraid to tell me somebody's bothering him. I don't want him to be afraid of any adult or any child, anybody. You don't be afraid of no one. If they need to go to counseling, take them to counseling. It's not because you think something is wrong with them, but they might not want to talk to you. They could talk to a counselor, and the counselor could, you know, maybe say a few things to you, but sometimes they may not share. If they need to talk to somebody, take them to counseling. If you can't do it, please take them to counseling. If they can't talk to you, just do it, please. This is the end of my video. I just wanted to share that little story with you. I will be back with more videos, so make sure you subscribe, like, and subscribe, okay? Please. I'll be your friend forever. I know you want to be my friend. I know you want to hear these stories, so you might as well like and subscribe so you can get them notifications when I'm live. The girl be rhyming. Bye.